tonight's contest. The NCAA and USA South Athletic Conference promote good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation by supporting participants and officials in a positive manner. Profanity, racial, or sexist comments or intimidating actions directed at coaches, players, officials, or any other team representatives will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal. The consumption or possession of alcoholic beverages is strictly prohibited. Thank you, and please enjoy tonight's game. In accordance with tradition at Southern Virginia University, we will begin with a word of prayer, which will be offered by McKenna Jones.
Our dear kind Heavenly Father, we are so grateful to be here in this stadium to enjoy this game. We pray for both teams to be safe and play fair and to be able to have fun tonight. We pray that all that have come here to watch will also have fun. Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for everything that we've been given. We're grateful for this university, we're grateful for its professors, and we're grateful for the athletic program of this year, for everyone that works for it. We love you so much, and we pray that everyone will be safe tonight. We say that in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Now, if you will all please rise and face the flag. Singing tonight's national anthem, Southern Virginia University's own a cappella group, Accolade.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Night Arena in beautiful Buena Vista, Virginia, the site of today's matchup between the Royals of Eastern Mennonite and your Southern Virginia University Knights. I'm Dawson Weeder, joined by my good friend Marion Gowdy. As always, good to be back with you here in the arena, Marion.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
Should be a very fun one as the Knights. Again, we've said in the past couple of broadcasts for Women's Volleyball, they're on a roll right now, winning their last 11 out of their last 12 games and only losing a total of 9 sets in the process. Things are clicking on all cylinders. Their offense is flourishing. They have players in the top 5 in statistics all over the USA South. Things are just working so well for Southern Virginia right now. As we have the light show here for the Southern Virginia starters. And on the flip side of the court, you have Eastern Mennonite coming into today's game with a 3-game losing streak. They've struggled so far this year with a record of 7-10 and really haven't been able to get their feet underneath them. They really haven't found one person they can go to that can be their heavy hitter like Southern Virginia has with Courtney Pinkston. So it should be interesting to see if Eastern Mennonite can try to break that rut that they're in and see if they can upset the Knights at home here. Always got to love that light show here at the barn. And we mentioned earlier the streak that Southern Virginia is on. That streak that they're on has put them on top of the USA South Conference at the moment. They still have a couple more games in conference left to play. But right now, sitting right at the very top after beating William Peace. Which, Mayor, we were talking about earlier before the game started, how Southern Virginia had played William Peace earlier in the season and had gotten beaten 3-1, and there was even one set where the Knights just didn't have any answers from William Peace.
Yeah, the first time they played William Peace, they lost 3-1, and I think it was the third set that they lost 25-12, which that's a surprising score looking at this team now. And so I think it was this past Saturday that they played William Peace, and they won 3-1. So they totally flipped the table on William Peace, and now they're #1 in the conference. And it just kind of shows the progression that this team has gone through. They've always had the talent. They have this roster with so many great players. It's just about putting those pieces together to where they become a functioning unit, and you've really seen Southern Virginia do that. As we have number 33, Sage Matheny, serving for the Knights to start this game off. And right away, a point for the Knights, as that'll be a double on the Royals. Here's Matheny back to serve once again. And a service ace for Sage Matheny. That's a category that Southern Virginia has done so well at this year, is getting those service aces. Coming to this game with a total of 275 as a team. And also with that comes plenty of service errors as well. So now back to serve for the Royals is number 6, Mara Wolford. She comes to today's game with 68 kills, 375 assists, and 127 digs. Torbison. Here's Matheny to Clyde. And she's going to get that to fall. And she's going to get that to fall right in front of her parents on that far side of the court. Got some family in attendance today. Here's Courtney Pinkston to serve. Pinkston at the moment leading the conference in kills. Beautiful placement from Torbison. You can see that the set wasn't exactly what Torbison wanted, but I could see them communicating after that play was over just to tweak it a little bit. So we'll see if they get that the next time they try it. The Royals able to get that one over. Here's Hopkin. That one sails out on Hopkin. She comes in as another statistical leader for the Knights with 217 kills on the year, as well as 33 total blocks. Doing a lot of great work at the net. Back to service number 11, Madison Stockner. Diving effort from Pinkston, and good hustle from Torbison, but unfortunately it's going to fall as a service ace for the Royals. Here's Stockner once again. Matheny to Clyde. Here's Hopkin on the near side. And that's going to fall for Sydney Hopkin, I should say. Sydney Hopkin with the kill. That was great on Sydney's part. She saw that the setter could get it to her and set it up, so she was calling for it. I heard her saying, go, 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 and she was ready for that, and she really put it exactly where she wanted it to go. There's Torbison for serve. And that's going to be another service ace for the Knights. That's the Knights' second service ace on the evening.
Blocked straight down by Jelaine Peterson. And Peterson comes to today's game with a total of 66 blocks on the year. And the Knights continuing the trend we've seen for the past couple of weeks, taking an early 7-3 lead here in this first set. And like we talked about before the game, Eastern Mennonite really doesn't have that one person they can go to that they can rely to get a lot of their kills. They spread around quite a bit between Lainey Klein with 128 kills, with Paris Hutchinson with 164 kills, and Mara Walford with 68, which you compare that to just Courtney Pinkston by herself with her 355. That's quite the tall order to go against her. So Eastern Mennonite's got to find the one person or maybe one or two people on the roster that's feeling it tonight that can get it done against Southern Virginia, because so far there's no kills on their stats.
I want to say most of their points at this moment is actually SVU's errors, like one of those hits sailed off out of bounds. Can't remember exactly the other two, but
yeah, service errors and approach errors, like mistakes from Southern Virginia rolls no point. You're absolutely right, Marion. Here's Torberson back to serve for Southern Virginia. Trouble handling that service, number 24, Lizzie Kirkton. Another service ace for Southern Virginia. Make that 3. Another service ace. And that one took a nosedive at the last second. A beautiful topspin. Beautiful dig from Torberson. They're calling net on Matheny. I mean, that hit from the middle blocker, Torberson able to dig that up was impressive enough. Even if it didn't lead to anything, still impressed that she got it up in the first place. Here's Clyde on the far side. Here's Hopkin. Clyde diving, as well as Pinkston. Not able to keep it off the floor. Here's Hopkin. That was blocked down. That time hit out by the Knights. Make it a 3-point game. Back to serve for the Royals is number 10, Paris Hutchinson. Here's Hopkin. Great diving effort there from Miller. And that's going to fall for the Royals. You know, the commentator curse is a funny thing. I mentioned at the timeout the Eastern Mennonite didn't have any kills in their stats yet, and since then they've gotten a handful. Checking in for the Knights is number 6, Jessica Ensley. She comes to today's game with 42 service aces, and along with that, 42 service errors. But she's been very much dynamic behind the line. Blocked back by Peterson. That one sails out off the hand of Kirkton. Ensley back to serve again. Blocked straight back by Matheny. Here's Peterson for the pin. Offhand of Peterson. Steiger trying to keep it up. That'll be a point for the Royals. Lizzie Kirkton, the junior from Goshen, Indiana, back to serve. And great effort from Kirkton to try to keep it up, but that hit from Hopkins, just too much heat behind that one.
Serving for the Knights, number 22, Tatum Matheny.
And Tatum Matheny will back to serve for Southern Virginia. That hit just too low, another point for the Knights. And Eastern Mennonite just had a really hard time getting solid passes to their outside hitters. A little bit of last second miscommunication there. Now back to serve for the Royals is number 8, Sierra McVeigh, the sophomore from Yorktown, Virginia. That one will go out, another point for the Knights as Ashley Torbenson comes back in. And Steiger will be back to serve. Another one of the leaders in service aces for the Knights with a total of 54. Great placement from Madison Stockner.
That was really great. There was no one covering right there, and she saw that hole.
Like you said, there was absolutely, that was a barren wasteland is what that area was right there. Great work at the net from Madison Stockner. I think there was miscommunication on that set as well because it was set like it was going to be to the middle to Torbenson, but then Pinkston came in. I believe they got confused to who was supposed to go for that one.
Which it is supposed to be a play where you kind of set it between the two, so it kind of throws off the blockers on the other side of the net. But if you're throwing off your own hitters, it doesn't work as well.
Or maybe it works a little too well.
Yes.
Here's Pinkston. That is blocked out. Point for the Knights. And Brenna Clyde comes back in for the Knights and Sage Matheny to serve. The thing that's working the most right now for the Royals is their middle blockers. Number 11, Madison Stockner, and number 10, Paris Hutchison playing a little bit in that middle as well. They're really doing a great job of getting in front of those hits and closing in those hitting lanes. Back to serve is number 6, Mara Walford. And totally missing on that swing was number 11, Madison Stockner. I mean, she put everything she had in that swing, but for some reason there was no ball at the end of that swing.
Yeah, it looked like they were trying to set out a quick set, so it's a little bit lower, not as high as they're used to. So it's just getting that timing down.
Here's Pinkston back to serve. They're called net on the Royals, I believe on number 11, Stockner. And the Knights starting to pull away in this first set. What a get from Steiger. That falls for Pinkston. But the effort from Steiger, she dove, reached out to one arm. That's a back row player's greatest dream right there, to get one of those back up in the air. Pinkston to serve again. That one sails off the hands of number 24, Lizzie Kirkton. And another timeout called by the Royals. There was a short stretch there where the Knights weren't quite as organized as they'd like to be. They weren't making the plays that they're used to, and Eastern Mennonite was getting some momentum with their middle blockers. But since then, the Knights have done a great job at spreading it out to the outside and keeping it away from those hands.
And I've seen a lot of communication on the court between setters and hitters. They're like correcting the little things. They're talking to each other to make sure that ball really goes where they want it to go, and they're on the same page. So I expect them to be able to clean that up and give us a show.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now for Eastern Mennonite, the statistics go as follows. Hutchinson has 3 kills and leads the Royals in that category. Klein follows her with 2, and Stockner, I should say, has 1. And then Kirkton has 1. And for Southern Virginia's side, you have Hopkin with 2, Pinkston with 2, Tormenson with 1, and Clyde with 1 so far. And 4 total service aces for the Knights, 3 of them coming from Ashley Torbenson. And Eastern Mennonite right now leading in the category of receiving errors, which has also been a big difference maker. Here's Pinkston. Athena Pinkston, back row. Unable to get that one is number 2, Megan Miller. And another kill goes down for Pinkston as she now takes over as the leader of that category for Southern Virginia with a total of 3. That one just barely missing the back line.
I'm actually pretty impressed with that hit, even though it went out. That was pretty aggressive, and I love the effort that she put into that. And it was close.
So if they can just get a couple more plays like that and just reel it in slightly, things could turn around for the Royals. And they all agree that it was indeed out of bounds. They were discussing on if a Knight had touched it at the net. Here's Pinkston once again. The Knights 3 points away from a set victory. Another service ace for the Knights. It's that initial serve receive that's really giving the Royals fits right now. And people are having to chase after the ball that goes off to the side where it wasn't supposed to. And granted, you like to see the effort, but you also like to see it cleaned up to make it easier on yourself.
Yeah, their setter's getting quite the workout having to run around so much.
Absolutely no one was ready for that second pass.
Hopkins there did a kind of a tricky play. Her body was fully facing cross court, but she turned it with her wrist and turned it closer to the line, and I think that threw off the defenders on the other side of the net.
Great dig from Matheny. Here's Clyde. Hopkin. Another net violation from the Royals. And that will give the Knights the first set of this game, 25-12. We saw a couple of those nets from Eastern Mennonite in that set. They'll probably want to clean that up in the second set throughout the rest of the game, because again, that was at least 3 or 4 points given to the Knights, and that can sometimes make all the difference, just those little things that you can correct. And so with that, we'll take a short break before the beginning of the second set.
Watching Halloween classics, such as Ghostbusters. So go out and support the Beat Match Foundation.
And we're back for the start of the second set between the Royals of Eastern Mennonite and your Southern Virginia University Knights. The Knights took the first set with a score 25-12. And Marion, you and I were talking, there were three distinct categories that were both helping the Knights and hurting the Royals in that first set. First we talked about was, of course, attack errors. 9 for Eastern Mennonite compared to Southern Virginia's 3. That's, of course, going to kill you. Then you also have hitting percentage. Knights hitting .250, Royals hitting -65. And then receiving errors is probably the one that we notice the most. Of course, not a huge number for a statistic, but it's 4 reception errors for Eastern Mennonite to Southern Virginia's 1. And I kind of feel like that defined that first set.
Because if you don't get that serve receive, you can't make a play.
Right.
So you're either going out of system trying to get it back over the net, and so they're going to utilize that as a free ball, or you're just going to give them the point. So
And you're
that
just not
serve
going to get
receive
rhythm.
is right.
Yeah.
You're not going to find that rhythm, and you're just going to hand them points. So you really have to get that first ball, that first serve receive ball to really get anything started.
And Southern Virginia getting started pretty quickly there with that kill. And now Pinkston will be back to serve. Nice low serve. Trying to dig it out of the net, that's always difficult. And another service ace for the Knights. And that another ace for Pinkston. Ball comes dangerously close to our little section of the sideline, but we're happy that it did not. Another example of serve receiving errors for Eastern Mennonite. They've just really had a hard time locking them in. And that one sails out, but it's going to be tipped. I think the closest person that could have tipped it may have been Brenna Clyde, because that one went up pretty high. But regardless, a point to the Royals, and serving as number 6, Mara Walford. Here's Clyde. She gets revenge right there. Coming in for Southern Virginia is Jelaine Peterson with Torbenson back to serve. Great placement from number 10, Paris Hutchinson. That's happened a handful of times so far for Eastern Mennonite. They've been able to not necessarily get the great hits cross-court or anything like that, but find those little spots that Southern Virginia has left open. Back to serve for the Royals is number 11, Madison Stockner. Here's Clyde. Another one goes down for Clyde. That gives her third kill. Got a couple substitutions for Eastern Mennonite. You have number 8, Sierra McVeigh. And for Southern Virginia, number 6, Jessica Ensley.
And there we see, if you get that serve receive, the Royals were really able to set something up right there. SVU answered, but still they were able to send something back.
Exactly. Now we got a good rally here. Here's Hopkin. Here's Pinkston back row. A one-hand set. Here's Hopkin again. That one will fall for Sydney Hopkin. Like it's like you said, is once Eastern Mennonite gets their offense going, they can do some damage on the offensive side. It's just getting there is the problem most of the time. It's like if you're a sprinter and you have a hard time getting off the blocks and getting the race started. You can be the fastest person on the track, but if you can't get started, it's not going to make a lick of a difference. Here's Ensley to serve. Another ace. And that gives her 2 in a row. A total of 8 so far for Southern Virginia. Make that 9. And a timeout be called by Eastern Mennonite as the Knights extend their lead to 9-2 in this second set. Again, at this point, you just got to get yourself in an offensive rhythm if you're the Royals. You got to get that serve receive, and that's a difficult thing when you're up against a team that has really done a great job at mixing up their serves and getting a lot of service aces in the process. And real quick, while we're on a quick little timeout, I want to remind you you're watching this on the Knights Broadcasting YouTube channel. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, leave us a comment, let us know how we are doing, and be sure to hit that notification bell that we get notified every single time a Southern Virginia University athletic event takes place. We appreciate your support. I want to give a shout out to all those who make this production possible, including the camera and production team. They're the reason why you're able to see what is happening in this game tonight. Much appreciation for them. As we break this timeout, the Knights have now gotten to 9 total service aces in the first set and a third, I want to say. And Jessica Ensley will be back to serve once again. She is tied with Ashley Torbenson for most sets on the team in this game with 3 apiece. Goes straight back down. I'm going to call that a net block because I'm not sure anyone got their hand on it, but if they're going to give the stat to anyone, it'll be Jelaine Peterson because she was right there. A great example once again. Once they get that first receive up high enough and then get people situated, things work out pretty well for them. Here's Pinkston. Here's a pin. Blocked straight down by Peterson. Megan Miller attempting the pin. Number 22, Tatum Matheny, coming in for the Knights to serve. That one had a weird spin to it when it came off. Something was not right there.
Maybe not high enough of a toss. I don't know, but yeah, that was not her best.
Now back to serve for the Royals, number 24, Lizzie Kirkton. Kirkton has 3 kills on the evening so far. Blocked straight back by Peterson once again.
That was a really great read by Peterson. She saw that she was a little bit too far to the right. She adjusted her arms to the left a little, and she got it back down to the floor.
And that gives Peterson 4 total blocks on the night so far. That floats her from Steiger just a little short. You could see, if you're here on the court, you could see the floating of that ball. It would have been a solid serve, would have been confusing to receive if it was just a little bit higher. Solid serve from Sierra McVeigh. Here's Pinkston. Torbenson almost had a birthday present there in that hit. Here's Matheny to Pinkston. Keeping it alive is number 10, Paris Hutchinson. Pinkston again. And Hutchinson almost doing it again.
I thought she did, but that line judge just called that with authority, so I guess he's right.
I mean, the effort to keep that first one alive in general was impressive, to say the least. Now back to serve is Sage Matheny, and Brenna Clyde checks in for the Knights. Diving effort from Pinkston. And that one's going to be out, and a point for Southern Virginia. It's a good idea from Stockner, just put a little bit too far to the outside. Here's Sage Matheny to serve once more. Blocked straight down by Clyde. And another thing we haven't mentioned when it comes to receiving serves is if you're going to put yourself in a situation where you become very predictable as an offense. You know exactly where it's going to go. You can put your middle blockers right there, and it's going to result in a block 8 to 9 times out of 10. Brenna Clyde trying to swing around the pole, trying to get it back across.
That's actually something I have always wanted to do when playing volleyballs, because you can.
Right.
If the ball, the first touch sends it out like it did with that, the next player, if they go outside of the net, they can cross the line, center line. If they send it back to their side, outside of the antenna, they can send it back and it's still good for play. I've always wanted to do that.
And
I think that would be so cool.
And Brenna Clyde was so close.
Yeah,
to being
she
able
almost
to.
had it. I'm so glad that she tried to go for it, at least even half effort for it. I'm so happy that she did that.
It's the little things, right?
Yes.
And here's Pinkston to serve. Great dig from Steiger. And Hopkin. Steiger to Hopkin. That one falls for Sydney Hopkin. And in the general vicinity was number 2, Megan Miller, but just a little too far out of reach for her.
Yeah, number 2 is doing great, Megan Miller. She's running around all over this court. She's getting quite the workout. But that one, just dropped right in front of her. Sometimes it's hard to switch between setter brain, but first you have to play defense before you go be setter. Sometimes that's a hard mental transition.
Absolutely, and that point goes down for the Royals with number 5, Kenley Smith, back to serve. That one sails out on her. Torbenson back to serve, and checking in for the Royals is number 6, Mara Wolford. She had to reach a little further back to try to go for that one, and by the time she swung at it, she had no power behind her hit. And you mentioned Megan Miller being impressed with her hustle. The same thing can be said also for number 10, Paris Hutchinson. Again, a couple plays ago when she had the dive, even able to keep the ball up with putting her hand down on the court. She almost did it twice in a row. We're seeing a lot of great hustle plays from a couple different players for Eastern Mennonite. But again, at the end of the day, a lot of it has to do with some sloppiness going on when it comes to passing, setting up your offense, but also the middle blockers for Southern Virginia have kind of come alive in this second set, with Jelaine Peterson getting a couple blocks, Torbenson getting her hands on some plays. It's been very impressive, and Clyde also getting a block straight down into the court. It's been very fun to see how the game has evolved throughout these couple of sets and what is required from each team. The first set, of course, is a lot of outside action for Southern Virginia. This time, middle blockers getting more involved.
I can't help but overhearing the EMU coach telling their team, or telling his team, that they just need to swing. Like, keep swinging, keep being aggressive, find a way to get that kill and get that ball down to the court.
And absolutely, in games like this where when you have set up your offense, you've gotten success, you just got to keep doing just that. Keep swinging at it, keep going for it, because you've made plays. So if you can just get that more consistently, we're in this. Here's Torbenson back to serve. And Peterson trying to get that one on the way down. That's a difficult one to do, as that was hit by number 24, Lizzie Kirkton.
Number 11, Madison Stockton, to serve for the Royals.
Stockner back to serve. The Royals find themselves down by 10 in the second set. Here's Clyde. Knocks down another one. That gives her her 5th kill. And we're seeing another substitution for Southern Virginia with number 24, Abby Gregory. We've seen her come in a couple of times when Southern Virginia's had a comfortable lead and they want to get some younger people in.
She's even had some of the game-winning hits.
Yeah, absolutely. Last time they were here at home, she got the game-sealing kill at the end of that one. Here's Jessica Ensley to serve. And that free ball falls due to miscommunication on the Royals side. And although that fell as a point for Southern Virginia, I want to compliment Eastern Mennonite's play setup there. I mean, everyone was flooding to this near side. And I believe their setter number 2, Megan Miller, put it way behind her over the other side at number 10, Paris Hutchinson. That's a tough play to pull off. That one falls for Lainey Klein. But then to have that kind of a setup, only to have it just float over and land in between a bunch of players, that's got to be disappointing. That one will fall for Hopkin. Gives her her 7th kill. She leads all in that category. And here's Tatum Athene back to serve for the Knights. Just 3 points away from closing out the second set. Great effort from Steiger to get to it. And we failed to mention the substitution also number 8, Jesse Fitcaw, into the game. But that one goes down for Kirkton. And back to serve is Kirkton. Fitcaw to Peterson. Beautiful pin. I don't think you can get the timing much more perfect than you did on that play.
Nope, that was great, and she went in right between the blockers.
Here's Steiger back to serve, 2 points away from a set victory. Matheny off the back row. Hits the shoe of the line judge as he tries to get out of the way.
But you know if it's out. He knew his foot was out of the line, so he knew it was out.
That's a very easy indicator. It's probably one of the easier calls of his career right there.
Yes.
Nice low serve from number 8, Sierra McVeigh. That somehow falls for Madison Stockner. She didn't have a whole lot of power behind that swing, but it grazed the net, went over to the side, and fell for the Royals. Here's Fitcaw to Gregory. And a little ceiling interference here from the barn. And that falls for Gregory, make it set point. Brenna Clyde comes in with Fitcaw back to serve. And Torgerson got her hands on it, but not before it went over the net. The Royals doing a good job of fighting to not let the second set get away from them. That serve is just short and gives the set victory to the Knights with a score 25-14. You saw a lot more fight from the Royals in that second set, and they later on in the set were doing a better job of receiving serves. They were doing a better job of locking in, getting those high enough to set up their offense, and able to get some good, decent looks. But at the end of the day, the Knights are just too on fire right now in that set for them to handle. And so with that, we'll take another short break before the beginning of the third and potentially final set. We will be right back. And we're back for the start of the third and potentially final set here in the barn of Southern Virginia University between the Royals of Eastern Mennonite and your Southern Virginia University Knights. The Knights took that second set with a score of 25-14. Saw a little bit more pushback from the Royals, but it's still definitely Southern Virginia's game right now to lose. I mean, they're doing a lot of things right passing-wise. They're getting it to all these different players. You have players like Sydney Hopkins with 7 kills, Clyde with 5, Pinkston with 5. You get it all over the place. And just doing a great job of setting yourselves up. Whereas Eastern Mennonite, again, it's been a struggle to do so.
Yeah, the Royals definitely had more fight last set. We'll see if they bring even more or see what they end up doing. But it was fun to see a little bit more longer rallies going on last set than it was in the first set. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and the Royals were able to receive serves a lot better later on in that second set. So they're kind of starting to get a little feel of the serves that Southern Virginia is throwing at them, so you can maybe expect to see less of those service aces, or at least you'd hope so if you're Eastern Mennonite. And just set up some more opportunities for you. Get some sets up to 24, Lizzie Kirkton, as well as Madison Stockner or Paris Hutchinson, who had a couple of great plays in that second set. I think this third set could get really interesting if Eastern Mennonite's able just to clean up the small things. But to start the third set, number 33, Sage Matheny, will be back to serve.
Sage Matheny, start us off. Let's go.
And again, you see Eastern Mennonite having to scramble. Here's Pinkston. Here's Clyde. Some great network as that one goes out on the Royals.
That was a risky call by Tatum, I think. That one was, she could have gotten it if she wanted to guarantee that that couldn't keep going, but
yeah,
it was in her favor for it to be out.
It was very, very close. Here's Torberson. We haven't seen a whole lot of her so far in this game. Here's Pinkston. Getting it back over is number 2, Megan Miller. And that one's in for the Knights. Again, we're seeing Eastern Mennonite make things just harder and harder for the Knights. The Knights still take a 2-0 lead so far in this third set. Again, you're seeing how much Megan Miller is having to run around on the court tonight. And there comes another service ace for Southern Virginia. Blocked straight down by Brenna Clyde. My goodness. Here's Matheny. That serves just a little short.
Unlucky on that one. Point for the Royals.
And now back to serve for the Royals is number 6, Mara Wolford, the freshman from Standardsville, Virginia. That one sails out on her. And Sydney Hopkins comes back on the floor again. Sydney Hopkins has had a great game so far with a total of 7 kills. She's been the primary target for Southern Virginia's offense so far tonight, aside from Pinkston. And another service error for the Knights. Now back to serve is Madison Stockner. Stockner has 1 service ace so far tonight. And add another. Pinkston able to easily handle that one. Here's Clyde. That was really close to being tipped. That goes out. Another point for the Royals. Here's Torbeson. No tip on that one either. And it's tied up at 5. Here's Matheny to Clyde. Put back down by number 14, Lainey Klein. And the Royals take their first lead of the night, since at least early on in some of these sets. And that ties it right back up at 6. Torbenson will be back to serve for Southern Virginia. Peterson checks in. Here's Hopkins. Beautiful hit.
That was a beautiful hit. That was fun to watch. She really got her hand on it. She got right between the blockers. She had great power behind it. That was fun.
It's one of those where it almost feels like it's in slow motion when you're watching it live.
The blockers are doing a great job of really penetrating the net when they're over the net to keep it on the other side of the court.
That one's just a little bit too much. Well, Pinkston tried to get out of the way of that one, but it was too fast. Ties it back up at 7. Here's Pinkston.
That's a hard ball to hit because it's coming in so high. You're a back row, so you're off the net. That's just a hard ball to read.
I think
you get those great sometimes, and they're great, but then...
Yeah. I think it was also a little further ahead than she expected it to be, so she's already on the way down by the time she swung.
Yeah.
And that goes down for Clyde. Clyde now has 6 kills on the night. Ties Pinkston for second on the team. And here's Jessica Ensley, who has 3 service aces so far. Another service error for the Knights. That's become a new problem so far in this set. Substitution for the Royals, number 5, Kenley Smith. As number 24, Lizzie Kirkton will be back to serve. Here's the pin. Not quite as accurate as Peterson would have wanted it. Put down by number 5, Kenley Smith. Here's Hopkins. That one sails out on Hopkins. That's another trend we're seeing in this set so far, as the Knights having a hard time getting those hits or getting on top of those balls and be able to keep it in the court.
I mean, they've won the first 2 sets pretty easily. I mean, not super easily, but pretty easily. So maybe they're getting a little casual. Maybe they need to tighten it up. Because usually when you get a little casual, things get a little sloppy. You miss little things here and there, and then the other team, the Royals, have their lead right now, 12-8. So,
and if you're getting sloppy on a team coached by David Baker, you know it's going to get corrected very quickly.
Yes.
Or at least, you know, you're going to get a talking to. In fact, you just heard Coach Dave Baker here as soon as they came over to the side saying, "Are you kidding me right now?" Because there's a lot of things that aren't going right. Some passes that are sloppy and inaccurate, like just a moment ago. We saw him try to set up a pin play for Peterson, but the set was way too far behind, so she had to adjust where she was going, kind of basically hit it from her feet, which completely changes the dynamics of the play and makes it a lot easier to defend if you're Eastern Mennonite. And so I think you're absolutely right. They have kind of gotten a little casual about it, but you can expect, after what they're hearing on the sideline right now, that's going to change. Meanwhile, Eastern Mennonite's loving this right now. They're seeing this as an opportunity to extend this game, try to win their way back, and they're making the plays right now. And of course, benefiting from the mistakes the Knights are making.
Out of the timeout, the Royals lead 12-8 here in the third set.
Lizzie Kirkton back to serve once again.
For Lizzie Kirkton.
I mean, the script has completely flipped in this third set. It was the first two sets, the Royals couldn't receive a serve very well. Now the Knights are really struggling with it, especially when Lizzie Kirkton is back to serve. Great dig from Steiger. Here's Hopkin. And put straight down by Hopkin.
I think we're seeing a little bit of their fight come back. I think they're trying to fight against that casualness and tighten things up, but it takes a couple points to really get everything tightened up the way you want to.
And I love the opportunistic mentality that Hopkin had right there. It was put right back up. She was right in the right spot. She saw the opening and said, I'm just going to take care of this myself.
Yeah, I think she swung at least 3 times in that rally.
And that falls for number 5, Kenley Smith. And Kenley Smith starting to come alive in this set as well. She's had a couple of kills in this set alone. Now back to serve for the Royals is number 8, Sierra McVeigh. That serve just short. Brings it back within 4.
Now serving Emma Steiger.
Here is Emma Steiger back to serve. Steiger hasn't gotten a service ace as of yet. And another low serve for Steiger.
Point for the Royals.
Now back to serve for the Royals is number 2, Megan Miller. Here's Pinkston. Here's Pinkston on the near side. Cross-court kill. I'm really surprised at how Eastern Mennonite handled that free ball. I feel like number 11, I think it was number 11 that hit it, Madison Stockner. She went up and she tried to put it down, but didn't have a whole lot of power behind it because she had just gotten down from trying to block. Pinkston. That's going to go under the net, and the Knights are battling back. Here is Sage Matheny back to serve. Knights kind of coming back into their form now. Gives them service ace number 10. Pinkston near side. Here's Clyde. That one falls down for Clyde. Clyde gets her 7th kill. Timeout called by Eastern Mennonite. I mean, you could feel a difference in attitude on the sideline between the last timeout and this timeout. Last timeout, it was like, we've got to correct some things. This is a problem. But now they come back, a lot more energy, a lot more momentum, and only down by 1.
They're closing up that gap.
And it shows, if you go on a slump, for instance, if you go on to a low ride where you're not doing everything right, there's a lot of things going wrong, you can allow 1 or 2 things to happen. You can continue to sulk and continue to not play up to potential, or you can correct it. You can correct each other, lift each other up, and we're seeing the latter example in Southern Virginia right now. We've seen that a couple times throughout the season here in these home games where they've had some sets where for a while they're not playing very well, the passes aren't very tight, and things are just going well, and they correct it very quickly. That's been very impressive to me.
Yeah, I would completely agree. I was just thinking that I don't think I've ever seen them get into a slump and stay there.
Right.
They've always been able to come together as a team, work together as coach and team, and then unified as players on the court to really pull it out. It speaks to great culture of the team and great mentality of each individual player.
And I think with the slump they had, they were very fortunate to only be down by 5 because, again, in the sport of volleyball, 5 points, you can make that up in a heartbeat. And they have so far, now being just down by 1. But, of course, Eastern Mennonite's not going to let it be that easy with number 11, Madison Stockner, getting that one to fall. And subbing in to serve is number 6, Mara Wolford. Here's Torbeson. Great dig from Wolford. A little ceiling interference is a disadvantage for the Knights this time. Not very often you see that. Wolford back to serve once again. That one sails out on her. Sydney Hopkins will come in for Southern Virginia. And back to serve for the Knights will be Courtney Pinkston. Here's Hopkins. Here's Hopkins. Hopkins with a great reflexes to save that last play. Here's Clyde. They're calling net on Southern Virginia's Brenna Clyde. I tell you what, the difference between the back row play for Eastern Mennonite in the first 2 sets and this set is a night and day difference. That back row has really locked things down. With number 11, Madison Stockner, back to serve. I think just a lack of communication for Southern Virginia right now. There's not as much talking as it was in the first 2 sets. With the Royals now leading 19-15. Here's Clyde. Put straight back by number 24, Lizzie Kirkton, and number 14, Lainey Klein, as they take the lead 20-15 in this 3rd set.
I mean, I don't expect them to stay in the slump because earlier I did say, like, I've never seen them not be able to come out of a slump. But we'll see.
Yeah, it's been very difficult for them this set. Again, Eastern Mennonite has pulled a complete 180 with that back row. The back row in the first 2 sets had a really hard time with receiving serves, with handling the hits that came from either Sydney Hopkins or Courtney Pinkston or Brenna Clyde. And now, that back row is everywhere. They're able to manage it, they're able to get a pass up that they need to. It's been very impressive to see that change and that momentum and that change in energy and communication as well. It's almost as if communication completely left the window for one side, and now it's the thing that the other side is doing so well.
It also shows what we were talking about earlier. If they could just get that serve receive, if they could just get that first set, they'd be able to set up their offense and play some offense. And we're seeing that right now.
Absolutely, seeing that coming to fruition as number 11, Madison Stockner, back to serve.
After timeout, the Royals lead 20-15 here in the third set. Madison Stockner to serve.
Steiger's going to have to get it over. Again, these blockers for EMU have really done a great job at making life very difficult for both Hopkin and Pinkston and Clyde. Here's Hopkin. Put right back by number 14, Lainey Klein. Now Eastern Mennonite knocking on the door of set victory. Another point for the Royals. Pinkston seems to be really struggling with Madison Stockner's serves right now. Once again, and make that set point for the Royals. I mean, this streak that the Royals are on right now, like, I'm speechless. It's very impressive. And just like that, service error for the Royals. And here comes Jelaine Peterson for the Knights with Torbenson to serve. And service ace right when they need it. And Torbenson gets her fourth service ace. Still have a long way to go if you want to win this third set. And that'll fall on the Royals. Avoid the sweep. They win this set 25-17 with an impressive last couple of points where really they didn't allow Southern Virginia to do anything offensively. Again, it was as if a switch flipped in that third set that wasn't on the first two. It's a completely different team, completely different mindset, and for lack of a better term, completely different vibe. And with that, we will take a short break before the beginning of the fourth and potentially final set. We'll be right back. And we're back for the start of the fourth set between the Royals of Eastern Mennonite and your Southern Virginia Knights. The Knights took the first two sets relatively easily with a score of 25-12 and 25-14. But that third set, if you're just tuning in, something switched in Eastern Mennonite. They became a completely different team in the blink of an eye. We were just by their huddle just a little bit ago, and the attitude was completely different. The personality, that they're smiling, they're basically saying, hey, we're here to play. We're actually here now mentally. Now back to serve for the Royals, Megan Miller, number 2. And that serve goes out, not the way you want to start if you're the Royals. And Marion, we were talking between the sets that this last set that Southern Virginia played was one of the most out-of-sort sets we've seen from Southern Virginia since earlier in the season. Just not a lot going right for them.
Yeah, I've never seen them stay in a slump that long. Usually I see them come out and tighten things up and really work together to get out of it, but they didn't seem to do that this time. But we'll see what this game brings.
And so now with that service error, it's tied at 1 apiece with number 6, Mara Wolford, back to serve. Here's Hopkin. Winning that battle of the net is number 11, Madison Stockner. I mean, Torbenson had that birthday present wrapped right there, but again, Stockner right there to stop it.
That really was an amazing rally, and then Brenna Clyde tried to get it again, but couldn't quite get there.
Here's Clyde. Here's Hopkin. Torbenson. Hopkin able to drop that right in the bucket.
The Royals sent it to that deep corner, which usually is a great spot to send it to, but Steiger is always there. I love you can really count on her in that back row.
Oh, you absolutely can. She's very impressive back there. But what I was going to say is that for the back row of Eastern Mennonite, especially with number 8, not in that play, but in most plays, number 8, Sierra McVeigh, has been able to read exactly where the hits are going to go. She's been right there, and so Brenna Clyde and Sydney Hopkin have had a really hard time getting points on the board because of that. That was served from Torbenson. Here's Clyde. And that one will go right into the net.
It's hard to really set up a ball where you want it to go off of a bump. You really want to use your hands on that one, but that was just a hard ball for everyone.
Now back to service number 11, Madison Stockner. Peterson placing that one. So you're starting to see sort of an adjustment from the Knights. They're realizing that the outside attacks aren't necessarily working. The back row is being locked down by the Royals. So they're trying to find those openings in between the net and the 10-foot line. Here's Ensley back to serve. Here's Hopkin. That one sails out, making another point for Southern Virginia. The Knights have a 2-point lead in this fourth set. That one sails out off number 24, Lizzie Kirkton. She may have a case, as she's trying to suggest that one of the Knights touched it. It looked like it was kind of close. Here's Ensley once again. That's just a little too short. I love the idea, short into this near side, but just a little too short. Here's Paris Hutchinson to serve. Hutchinson has 7 kills in the night. That one going out. Knight's trying to argue that that one was tipped as well. Here's Peterson. Here's Hopkin. And with great effort from Kirkton, but great placement from Matheny. Is now Tatum Matheny checks in as Southern Virginia has a 2-point lead.
Now serving tonight's Tatum Matheny.
This is going to definitely be an uphill battle for Southern Virginia to close out this game, because after winning that third set in the fashion that Eastern Mennonite did, they're feeling confident about themselves. They feel like they can make those plays. As that one goes out, making a 1-point game. Checking in for the Royals is number 5, Kenley Smith, with Kirkton to serve. Here's Pinkston. Great effort from Pinkston. Ties it up at 7 apiece. Another service error for Southern Virginia. Or receiving error, I should say. And the reception errors are starting to level out a little bit in this one. It was very one-sided in favor of Eastern Mennonite. Now Southern Virginia's creeping up. Here's Pinkston. Saved by Matheny. Pinkston able to place that right where it needed to be, despite the dive from Megan Miller.
We're seeing a lot of tips from both sides of the net, and I think that's because they're both kind of out of system and they're trying to get it down to the court. But I would love to see, especially Southern Virginia, just really come out aggressive, get high on the ball, get on top of it, get it down to the floor.
Knights have to get it back over. Steiger diving to get it back. That falls another point for the Royals. And to your point as well, you're seeing them tip it around a lot, being out of sorts. Again, you have to credit that to the phenomenal play of both back rows right now, not allowing for those big hits and being right where they need to be. Back to service number 8, Sierra McVeigh. Here's Pinkston. Some miscommunication there, as I think they believed that number 8, Sierra McVeigh, was going to go get it. But the last second, Kirkton realized, nope, that's me. Brenna Clyde checks into the game, and Sage Matheny back to serve. That's the first receiving error we've seen from Eastern Mennonite in a while, and the Knights take back the lead. Just short enough. Another service ace. Make that a total of 13 for the Knights. Pinkston doing a great job of rushing up. Put back by Torbenson. The Knights starting to pull away a little bit now with a 3-point lead. And you are starting to see Eastern Mennonite become a little bit more aggressive with their swings. You can hear on the bench them telling them to swing at them. Clyde wins that battle at the net.
I love that she went really after that with so much power behind it. She knew where that ball was going and she knew she wanted it. I love that she went with such power behind it, like I said.
Absolutely, and Eastern Mennonite right now, they're starting to trail behind a little bit. Southern Virginia finding their groove once again, and kind of like in the first two sets, profiting off of Eastern Mennonite mistakes. Again, a couple of receiving errors in that run of points. Again, something we haven't seen a whole lot of since the second and first sets, where that's really what dooms them. And you hope for Eastern Mennonite that they don't fall back into that trap of struggling in the back row, receiving those serves, and not being able to set up your offense. Because, again, when they fixed that, we saw the third set, it worked out pretty well for them. They ended up winning 25-17. So if they fall back into that slump again, Southern Virginia could very well just run away with this fourth set and with the victory in general. And this break, once again, we want to remind you, you're watching this on the Knights Broadcasting YouTube channel. We thank you so much for checking in and viewing your athletes here at Southern Virginia University. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment, let us know how we are doing, and be sure to click the notification bell. That way you get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia Athletics. We thank you for your support, as well as a shout out to our production team, cameramen, producers, all the ones that make this production happen. Now Sage Matheny back to serve. The Knights now up by 4. Tormason had a freebie but completely mishandled it.
She had the right idea. It was going to that desert wasteland over here where no one was covering it, but she just wrong side of the net.
And she even covered her mouth as she went down. She knew that she had a freebie. Here's Pinkston. That hits the antenna. So just like that, it's back within 2 with a couple of Southern Virginia mishaps. Now back to service number 2, Megan Miller. Here's Pinkston. Great effort from Kirkton, but that'll fall for Pinkston. And checking in for Southern Virginia's number 4, Sydney Hopkin. Hopkin leads both teams with a total of 11 kills in tonight's game. Pinkston to serve. That one falls for Hopkin. Brings her total to 12. And I love the fact we're seeing more of Sydney Hopkin in this game than we have in past home games for Southern Virginia. Past home games, there's been a lot of blowouts, I should say. And so she wasn't necessarily needed, but this game she's had her number called more often, and you love to see it. And Pinkston, I think she slipped trying to get that one over. So that's 2 easy plays you can make that Southern Virginia has messed up on in the past couple plays. Back to service number 6, Merrill Wolford. Pinkston from the back row. Here's Clyde. Blocked straight back into Clyde's arms by Kirkton. As soon as Clyde had that ball leave her hand, it was all of a sudden back in her arms. Here's Hopkin. Balls once again for Hopkin. Jelaine Peterson coming in for Southern Virginia with Torbenson back to serve. Here's Hopkin. That was a great effort from Pinkston to get that back up. Hopkin again. What great placement from Paris Hutchinson.
That's a hard ball to cover. When it's that close to the net, you don't expect it that close to the net. That's a hard ball to cover.
That's a hard ball to make as well. I mean,
Yeah.
the accuracy you have to have was incredible. Knights hanging on to a 2-point lead. That one not far enough for Kirkton.
Point, SVU.
Trying to get a little tricky with both Jelaine Peterson and Brenna Clyde in her face.
Jessica Ensley.
Ensley will be back to serve for the Knights as they lead by 3. Put back down by Hopkin. Another kill for Hopkin. I think it's safe to say that this is Hopkins' game today. I mean, you've had plenty of games with Pinkston leading the way, with Clyde having a lot of highlight plays, but today, they're right on the back of Hopkin right now. Here's Peterson. Blocked straight back by Kirkton. Kirkton has been a menace at the net in this set.
Hutchinson to serve for EMU.
Paris Hutchinson back to serve for the Royals. Here's Hopkin. Another well-placed spot for Hopkin. That gives her 15. 15 total kills for Hopkin in tonight's game, with Tatum Matheny back to serve. And another service ace. And so with that, Eastern Mennonite will call a timeout, finding themselves down by 5. 20-15 is the score. I mean, this is probably one of the harder fought sets we've been able to cover this season. And we've covered a lot of games so far. But again, it's been great back and forth. Hopkin, we've talked about her with 15 total kills so far. And also Kirkton really coming alive both defensively and offensively in this set. I mean, she's got a total of 7 kills in the game. And in blocking, she's, again, it's been great. Total of 5 blocks. I feel like most of them coming in the past 2 sets. I mean, she's really been disruptive for Southern Virginia's offense, and also just making those plays where it's a free ball for Southern Virginia and she shuts down that play right away. And so the question now is, how does Eastern Mennonite respond? Now they're down by 5. Southern Virginia has reached the 20-point mark. How are you able to climb back? Are you going to try to rely more on Kirkton, or are you going to try to, what are some things you can do, right? How can you slow down Hopkin, who's caught fire in this set? Now to serve number 22, Tatum Matheny. That serve will go out. Make it a 4-point game. Now back to serve is Lizzie Kirkton with number 5, Kenley Smith checking in. Here's Pinkston. They're going to call that in. Count as a kill for Pinkston. That one was a close one.
Point for the
Very close.
That was a very close call. That coach was standing right there, and he thought it was out, but that line judge called it in.
It's now 21-16 in favor of the Knights, with Steiger back to serve. The Knights really targeting this near side. Great reaction time from Ensley. That's going to go out off the hand of Pinkston. Now back to serve as number 8, Sierra McVeigh.
Number 8, Sierra McVeigh.
Here's Pinkston. Matheny running all over, trying to get to it. Be another point for the Royals. Royals not able to swing down on that free play, and Pinkston gets the first solid swing she's had in a while. You can feel the frustration on the Eastern Mennonite side when that free play, when they didn't swing on it and just simply try to push it back over.
I'm surprised she didn't swing. I think most of us were.
That one sails out. Make it 22-19. Knights need just 3 points to close out this game, with now Megan Miller back to serve. Here's Pinkston. Pinkston again. Right there to help him out was Kenley Smith. That's going to be a double on the Royals, with Sydney Hopkins checking in for Southern Virginia. That's the last person you want to see coming in if you're the Royals. And just 2 points to go. And that one's going to go out. Again, reminiscent of the first set a little bit, not able to handle that serve. They put together a sloppy play. Make it set point for the Knights. Royals trying to stay alive, and it's put back down by Torbenson. And that's a beautiful way to end a game right there.
You can tell that she really had that fight in her. She really wanted to get that down. It's fun to see that fight come alive and really finish a game like that.
Absolutely, and with that block, that gives her a total of 3 blocks on the night, and it being the game-winning block. And again, talk about the fight in Eastern Mennonite. After losing the first 2 sets like you did, and then to come back in the 3rd set, and even this 4th set too, they made it quite a game in what looked like it would have been a sweep.
Yeah,
so
that was a great game on both sides of the court.
Absolutely, so huge kudos to Eastern Mennonite coming in here and really making things difficult for Southern Virginia in the stretch. And Southern Virginia wins their 12th out of the latest 13 games of their schedule. Again, it wasn't an easy one, but able to get out of that rut that they were in that 3rd set and early in that 4th set, and it'll come away with a victory. And we thank you so much for tuning into tonight's presentation of Southern Virginia University Women's Volleyball. I, Dawson Weidrich, and Marion Gowdy appreciate you so much for tuning in. God bless and go Knights.